songs of Mother Goddess and the Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. Hi, everyone. Hope you guys are just having a fantabulous Mother's Day weekend here in the U.S. Yeah, it's a good day that ends in Y, right? We're being broadcast live tonight, of course, on Truth Frequency Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live, and on YouTube. I can speak, I promise. And if you are on YouTube, hi. Remember to hit the thumbs up button, that like button. Yep, that one. Subscribe, all that stuff. I hope you guys are having a good day. Goodness. Let's see. Like, subscribe. Yeah, got that. No matter how you are hearing me, make sure you stop in and say hi if you can. Drop me a message through one of the chat rooms, or you can always send me an email at wildpaisley@gmail.com. WILDEPAISLEY@gmail.com. Let's see. You can also support my radio habit by doing the cash tag. It's a donation kind of a thing, and that's a $, TheSpacesBetween, which is fun. Or you can also go to my website, and that is PaisleyWild.com. So www.PaisleyWild.com. Remember, wild has an E. And I've got all sorts of different miscellaneous stuff. Some witchy paraphernalia, some spell jars. I've got my book. Doop, ba-doop, ba-doop. Book. Yep. And I've been kicking around an idea for another one. Tea. Tea tonight. I needed the warm, minty, nummy. Let's see. What else? Yeah. PaisleyWild.com. The call line is open, so it's 213-233-3998. And if you're across the pond in the UK, it's 44203-393-2871. Let's see. If you have a moment and you've already checked out the website, you can also check out ialife.com. ialife is the official sponsor for Truth Frequency Radio. It combines the non-hallucinogenic aspect of the ayahuasca with some awesome CBD to help support your immune system and your function and grease your mental wheels, because sometimes, yeah, we just need that too. And Wanda in the chat room mentions that she's just kind of feeling some low energies. I gotta tell you, I felt that way last week. I was just dragging really bad, and no energy, no oomph, no pizzazz. Lots of coffee in my world, and I got some sleep. That helped. Drink some extra water. That helped. I've been slowly kind of trimming out some of the unnecessary stuff in my diet, which is helping also. Apparently I ate it all. I had chocolate. Chocolate is necessary. You cannot cut that out. Trying to be a little more physically active, which is kind of an adventure, but that's a story for another time. And then, yeah, it's just cyclical. You know, our energy is cyclical. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. And right now, a lot of folks are feeling just kind of that burnout energy. And if you catch the news at all, there's probably a reason why. Yeah. A lot of folks are feeling a little burnout. There's a lot of crazy, unpleasant energy out there. So be careful. Be careful what you're putting in your brain, because the stuff that you watch, the news you read, or the books you read, the all that stuff, whatever you are watching is slowly imprinting itself on your brain. And, you know, sometimes it's not good for you, and it will bring you down. So, yeah, be aware. Be aware of what you're putting in your brain, because there's no reason for you to, you know, have problems. And sometimes you just need the nap, really, truly, and that's okay. Naps are good. Naps are your friend. Right there with chocolate and coffee. Yes. So, yeah, Mr. Don is not going to be on the show tonight just because, well, you know what? He's feeling that kind of drain also. So the low energies. So, you know, it happens. It happens to all of us. Sometimes you just gotta put on a clean pair of socks and power through. And sometimes, yeah, you just need to take the nap. And it's okay. Sometimes you have to do both. And that's okay too. Remember, self-care. As I drink my tea. So, yeah. Um, See, last night we talked about crafting and crafting with intent, creation of your magical tools and that kind of a thing, which I think is important. And so it kind of led into tonight's show, and we're going to see where we go and move on from there. So I wanted to talk about magic itself. So often I talk about magical tools, magical this, magical that. As a witch, what does that really mean? And so, yeah, we're going to talk about magic. What is it? Because for some it's an intangible concept, and for others it's like, oh, well, yeah, magic is real. And part of it is your perception. I do not microdose, Wanda, not for a lack of contemplating it. I need to. I could. I know where to get the right stuff to do so, but that requires focus also. I'm a little ADD sometimes, and I just am not ready to do that yet. I need to. Macro dose. I've done that once or twice. About something else entirely. So, magic. What is magic? Well, magic is considered a supernatural phenomena by most people in our world today. It's not as everyday, it's not as rational, if you will, for most people to accept. There is, the school of thought that says that, magic is just unexplained science. There's some truth to that, I think, because, yeah, if you were to take, like, our cell phones and hand a cell phone to someone who was alive 200 years ago, they'd look at the cell phone and they'd be like, oh my gosh, the devil is in this thing, and freak out. Or they would be like, oh my gosh, this is so freaking fantastic, and be over the moon. So there's one or two of those reactions, or sometimes a combination of both. And it's magic is just this interesting thing, this interesting concept, and it's interpreted by peoples all over the world all the time. And so kind of wanted to talk about it. Magic, again, it's a concept, it's a mode of rationality or thinking that looks to invisible forces to influence events, affect change in material conditions, or present the illusion of change. This is according to Britannica.com. And according to Western traditions, and this way of thinking is distinct from religious or scientific modes. However, such distinctions and even the definition of magic are subject to wide debate. So even the Britannica is not sure. Now, generally speaking, magic is divided into different classes, like astrology, ritual magic, meditation, alchemy, divination, like tarot, that kind of thing, spell work. And then there's all sorts, or conjuration, and those are just some basics. There's some basic classes, if you will. And I think that there are those sub-genres, if you will, of magic. But ultimately, for me, magic at its very foundation is energy. And so when I was doing research for this particular episode, it's like, all right, so what am I going to look at? Well, let's define magic. So I go to Britannica, I get the definition. Cool. Well, and it goes on. There's quite a bit of information, actually, with Britannica that was an interesting approach. A lot of really good information. So I'm going to go ahead and read through this just a little bit. The purpose of magic is to acquire knowledge, power, love, or wealth, to heal or ward off illness or danger, to guarantee productivity or success in an endeavor, to cause harm to an enemy, to reveal information, to induce spiritual transformation, to trick or to entertain, and the effectiveness of magic is often determined by the condition and performance of the magician, who is thought to have access to unseen forces and special knowledge of the appropriate words and actions to manipulate those forces. Phenomena associated or confused with magic include forms of mysticism, medicine, paganism, heresy, witchcraft, shamanism, voodoo or vaudoon, and superstition. So magic is sometimes divided into high magic of the intellectual elite, bordering on science, and low magic of common folk practices. A distinction is often also made between black magic, which is used for nefarious purposes, and white magic, ostensibly used for the beneficial purposes. Although these boundaries are often unclear, magical practices have a sense of otherness because of the supernatural power that is believed to be channeled through the practitioner, who is marginalized or a stigmatized figure in some societies and central in others. And seriously, this is a really good article, lots of good information. I'll probably come back to this because, like I said, good information. But for me, magic is energy. And so it's like, all right, so if I'm going to focus on that, what is energy? Well, energy is described as, it's everything. It's the ability to do work. How is that not magic? The ability to do work, to do the things. Whether it's to wave the wand, combine the ingredients, to rub your lucky rabbit's foot, not do laundry because your socks are lucky, whatever it is. All of those things could be considered the ability to do work. There's engineers, electrical engineers. They're pretty specialized in their sciences and their abilities. They know they have the right tools. They know the words. For those of you who have never taken a class that had to do anything with electricity, there's some different words in there like ohm, watt, kilowatt, gigawatt, and there's all sorts of things with electricity that you really have to pay attention to or it'll kill you. And magic, to me, is very similar. You have to really pay attention to the things. So energy itself is divided into kinetic energy, which is moving energy, or potential or stored energy. So potential energy for me would be like a spell jar or a ritual that is written out. Very, very similar. Kinetic or moving energy would be doing the ritual. You're being pretty kinetic there. If you've ever been to a group ritual or participated in a group event, those rituals are real. You're doing things. So I think, energetic, we talk about energy work. Energy work, energy. And that's often manipulating the energetic fields within a body or a person or a thing. And so when you're doing that, you're working with the radiant energy of a person or a thing, which in scientific terms is considered electromagnetic energy, which moves in waves, like X-rays or radio waves. That's, often if you are working with, say you're going to do physical therapy for whatever reason and they use ultrasound. Sorry, my nose is running. Flowers are blooming. And so ultrasound is using sound waves to either provide a therapeutic sound messages, if you will, to your tendons, your muscles, your joints, that kind of thing. Or if you're getting an ultrasound picture of, say, your body for some reason, maybe you're pregnant or they're looking for, why do you have this lump there? That kind of a thing. The sound waves are moving. So in that case, it is an energy. It's a radiant energy. And if you're doing energy work with a person, often you're messing with their actual electromagnetic energy copper top, and that energy is often focused around the different chakra points, and they often have different colors, just like electric energy often has, or energy in general has different colors to it. It's a spectrum thing. And you can feel these things. Kinetic energy is the act of, are often moving something, like velocity, or, sound energy, you're speaking. If you have ever been to a ritual or participated in like a drum circle or something like that, and there's drumming and there's music and there's rhythm and sound and vocalization, that sound energy often is very transformative, and it can move you into a very meditative phase, or it can help you, to focus your energy to like an energetic healing, or trying to visualize, the future, or try to do, far seeking, see what's going to happen, that kind of a thing. Yes, those are all real. Potential energy, yeah, that's your spell ingredients, your stones, your crystals. All of that has potential energy stored within it, and sometimes just by touch it releases, or contact in some way, shape, or form. There are different water bottles out there now where you can put infusers, if you will, put different stones within the infuser, and the energy crosses the glass barrier into the water that you're drinking, so you can energize your water, taking the energy, the spiritual energy, from the stones and crystals, and moving them into your water. Because some stones, you just don't want to drink the water that they've been soaking in. That's all. Chemical energy. If you are lighting, say, a candle magic, you're using heat and fire to create, there's a chemical reaction there. The burning of something, that's a chemical reaction. And if you're burning, or you have like an intention, or you're trying to send a message to your ancestors or something like that, and you're burning it in the fires so the message goes up in the smoke, you're sending that message within the chemical energy of the smoke going up into the air and dispersing out into the world around you. So, all of this it's very, very, very connected. When you are focusing on yourself and doing like a self-cleansing or meditative type work, that could be either potential or kinetic energy, depending on what you're doing. If you're trying to be ecstatic and just hold that energy and kind of bank it, if you will, that's more potential energy. But if you're meditating and looking into yourself to say, oh, well, my third chakra is feeling a little clogged today. What can I do, to move things around and get things flowing again? That's more of a kinetic type of energy. And this is all generally considered pretty esoteric or supernatural to the layperson, but those of us who are in the practice, it's normal. It's not magic. It's not abnormal. It's not supernatural. It is natural. It's just not understand. I got to tell you though, there are some aspects of, say, electricity that are pretty stinking supernatural. Lasers, okay, sure, you can explain that stuff, but it's not natural to me. Did I enjoy my physics classes and my chemistry classes? Yes, I did, because they're fascinating. Did I like philosophy too? Yeah, equally fascinating. Just a different kind of class. So, all these different types of energies are just different elements of ourselves. And it's just, magic is energy. And we often don't stop and think about it that way. We often are just like, oh, well, hey, we're doing the thing because the stuff, and that's it. And we don't stop and think about the why of it, or the how's it, or the what's it, and it's just, we're doing the thing. So yes, science can absolutely explain magic. Yes. Although the scientists have a hard time understanding that. They really do. I mean, stop and think about it. Are demons real? Yes, I think demons are real. Are poltergeists and ghosts and Bigfoot and the cryptids and all that stuff real? Yes, I do. I believe in all of it. And it's not because I'm woo-woo out there. It's because, well, you haven't been able to prove to me that they're not. I can't see an electron either. That doesn't mean they're not out there. It just means I'm not using the right tool to look. I think Bigfoot and a lot of the cryptids, same kind of thing. Just because I can't see them doesn't mean they're not out there. I think they are. I haven't seen an alien myself yet. At least not one that says, hey, I'm an alien. They don't walk around with signs like that. But again, I have never seen DNA, but then I'm not using the right tool. And it's a lot more acceptable in our society to go to school to learn how to see DNA and create the tools to see DNA and work with DNA than it is to go to school and learn about the cryptids and build the tools to find the cryptids and work with the cryptids. And think about it that way. Which one is more socially acceptable? Well, or culturally acceptable? Cryptids are not culturally acceptable. They're more entertaining for the masses than they are real. Which is unfortunate because they're pretty freaking awesome. So yeah, magic is energy. Stored energy, kinetic energy, doesn't really matter. It is all energy. And yeah, there are a lot of elements for like spell jars. Dee says she's an ET. Okay. Do you have antenna? I'm kidding. I know you don't, Dee. Hi, how's it going? There's how protective is Kevlar? Well, it's pretty freaking protective. How protective is an energy field that you put around yourself to protect yourself? It's pretty freaking strong. Do they deflect two different types of things coming at you? Yeah, one was designed to stop bullets and one is designed to stop kinetic attacks or energetic attacks. If you want to wear armor that will stop, say, a knife from poking you, well, you're not going to be wearing Kevlar, and you probably need something a little bit more than your energetic protective fields. There's other types of, we could wear chainmail that would deflect a knife attack, but it would not stop a bullet. But see how they're all three of those examples are extraordinarily different. But we don't expect you to wear chainmail and Kevlar and put an energetic field around yourself to protect you. Which one is more acceptable to wear in our world today? The Kevlar. Why? Because most people are going to attack you with a gun rather than a sword or a knife or magic. That's just all there is to it. Dee says her antennae are under her wig. I love it. Yeah, it's, we all use the different tools that we need to protect ourselves or to go through our day. So yeah, if you're in a field where Kevlar is what's needed to protect you, then I sure hope you're wearing your Kevlar. If for some reason you're doing things where you need chainmail to protect you, well, I hope you're wearing it. And if you're in a world or experiencing things where you need an energetic field to protect you, well, you know what? You better be doing that too. Just like we put walls up for our houses and our homes to protect us from the elements and the weather and to give us a semblance of privacy, we need to do the same thing with our energy. Honestly, it should be as second nature to put our energetic barriers up as it is to build a wall to give us privacy and to protect ourselves. D, you can only wear chainmail if you have a tutu to go with it. They pair naturally. I'm just saying. Anyways, we're about to our first break already, which is awesome. I'm going to keep talking about magic and what it is, my interpretation of what it is after the break. And top of the hour, just like we always do, we'll do some singing bowl. And if you do have questions, by all means, drop them in the chat rooms. Or you can also give me a call. And it looks like, for some reason, my call line isn't open. And I'll figure that out during the break. Weird. Huh. I love technology. Technology is such a good time, right? Yes, yes it is. Anyways, yep, we will be right back. Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. And tonight we're talking about magic. What is it? Well, I say it is energy. I mean, think about it. I like coffee. Coffee is a magical beverage made from magical beans. Yes, very, very much. If I don't have my magic bean juice, I don't have the energy. I love coffee. Coffee's my friend. That's why my friends give me fun coffee cups. Yes, I love my fun coffee cups. I have one that's a whole liter. You can put a liter of coffee in it. Isn't that awesome? Yeah. Yes. Yes, it is. Because I like coffee. Yes. And tea. I'm drinking tea tonight. So, yeah, magic is generally considered pretty esoteric. It's pretty supernatural, according to most of our society. They see things on TV, for instance, or in the movies, and that's what they say is, and that says what's, oh, hey, that's magic. Well, in some respects, yeah, I'm sure there's part of it, but a lot of it is movie magic, and movie magic is an entirely different thing than real magic. Movie magic is done with special effects and different tools and gizmos and whatsits. And that's not real. Stage magic is for entertainment purposes. And there's a lot of sleight of hand and props and ways of manipulating people and what they see. People see what they expect to see, not what is really there. That's why there's so much sleight of hand and all these gestures and stuff that go along with a lot of stage magic. And so when it comes to actually performing magic, often, especially for newbies, they feel like they have to be gesturing. They have to be doing the thing to like, ooh, I'm waving my hand to do the magic. Well, no, not really. That's movie magic. You're trying to wave your hands and draw your attention to your hands. So you're like, ooh, here's my hands, and there's one hand over here, and this one's not doing anything because it's, pulling the rabbit out of the hat. It's there's a lot of props with stage magic, and it's for entertainment. It's supposed to make you laugh or feel good or give you a sense of awe. Now, there are some pretty creeptastic people out there that do some pretty crazy things on TV. There are quite a few in the Vegas area that do performance type magic. I don't know about, some do the levitation, or like Chris Angel is the one that comes to mind. That dude's weird. And he has a gift. If it's all sleight of hand, it is a fantastic gift of magic. He is very, very good at what he does. Just give him, I'll give him mad props for that. Now, is it real, as in most people assume, like the supernatural type magic? That, I don't know. I would have to see one of his acts in person to really develop an opinion on it. Because on the one hand, no, there's no way that could be real. On the other hand, why not? It could be real. It could be happening. It could be real. It could be real. Or it could be your brain says it's real because it sees the thing, but logic says, no, it's not. It's just a visual effect of some sort or another. So you really have to pay attention and look at it, and some things you do have to see in person. And then movie magic, that's smoke and mirrors. That's somebody with a great imagination. For me, movie magic is taking like a model and taking that model or that actor and applying makeup and costuming and props and everything, and your average looking 5'10" male suddenly looks like Hagrid. Actually, the actor who played Hagrid, it's like only 5'6". He wasn't extraordinarily tall, and so for him to appear as a giant, they do camera angles and lifts and green screens and all sorts of things. That's movie magic. That is creating a visual effect that looks real. And did they do a good job? Yeah, I'd have to say they did a pretty good job. I remember when The Matrix first came out, and Keanu Reeves' character did that bend over backwards with his duster coat flapping in the wind to avoid the bullets. And they showed the behind the scenes how they set it up with the camera angles to show all the different things to make it look like it was real, like it was really happening. Which, ironically, it wasn't even real within the movie. It was within the Matrix, rather, which wasn't real. So real within a real. And it was fascinating how they had taken this concept and, somebody out there's like, hey, what if there's probably alcohol involved or something, and let's try this thing. And lo and behold, it worked, and it was fantastic. And now you see that same kind of movie effect, for instance, in other movies all over the place, just because it was such great videography. But is that real magic? No, that's videography. That's movie magic. Real magic is taking the energy around us and doing the things around us and putting it into effect. When I was doing the research, I pulled up a couple different things, and there's one here talking about Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley, by the way, was a very, very strange individual, kind of like Carl Jung, very, very strange people. They had a lot to do with psychology, honestly, which stop thinking about psychology and magic. What's the connection there? That's an entirely different show, guys. But Aleister Crowley is considered a really great magician or a really great witch because of the work that he did. Excuse me. And the things that he participated in and created, and the whole movement that he did. Same with Carl Jung. And so he talked about, the Enochian language, or language of the angels, the Kabbalah, the Gitya, sigils, oracles, and he recognized that the invocation of entities through magic was an inherent part of our psyche. How many of us say, "Oh God"? He has as an exclamation of horror or excitement, or just as an exclamation of, "Oh my gosh." I say, "Oh my stars" more often than I say anything else. Ironically, my mom, who is not a witch, is the one who started that. So I grew up that way. But yeah, it's real. We all say it. But he wrote a book called Lemgeton Clavicula Salomonis. I probably butchered that all to heck because I believe it's Italian. But he says basically the spirits of Gitya are part of the human brain. And he calls it thalama, which means will. And I studied up with, followed Nietzsche and Schopenhauer and some other different books. But yeah, he was really into the psychology of it and how we have to go through certain rituals or certain movements and use different aspects of self to create the energy to do the thing. And so basically he's using it as psychology as a way of explaining the energetic signature, the energetic properties of magic. So instead of saying, hey, magic is energy. And what is energy? We talked about it earlier, remember? Energy is everything. It's in everything. It's the ability to do work. So he's using psychology to explain work. And really a big movement following Crowley. And, he had a lot of followers, and he did some really odd things, and he was part of a lot of secret societies, which have been known throughout history to do a lot of very strange things. Some of them are dogmatic. It's like, don't all secret societies, meet in secret places? It's not like they gather at the local coffee shop. Don't a lot of them wear robes and face masks to conceal who they really are to one another? It's not like they, again, meet at the local coffee shop. So, hectic eclectics, just by that very definition, is not a secret society. We just meet for coffee at, the local coffee shop in our everyday clothes. No special garb. Drink coffee, tea, or whatever. I'm not sure where we're going to have the next one. I'm thinking someplace with maybe wine, just because why not? We're grown-ups, right? We'll see. I gotta think about that one a little bit. But yeah, so Yeah, Crowley is one of the things he talked about, though, and talks about, and if you research him at all, is he feels that based on your own individuality and self-knowledge, or practicing individuality and self-knowledge is lends itself to the belief that an individual, one single person, is a microcosmic image of the universe or of God, of the divinity. So if you are, setting your intentions correctly and you understand your intentions, it helps you to understand the intentions of the universe, and it helps you to be a part of the universe and use that energy. And that's his philosophy, and he's pretty, when he was around, he used all the right words. He had the right, trying to think of the word, personality to draw the people in, to give him that power, that authority, and that acceptance. Because there's been a lot of whack jobs, for lack of a better phrase, out there that have written, all sorts of literature. I'm not going to call them books. We'll just call it literature, about the different religious organizations or faith-based stuff. I mean, even Scientology was written by a sci-fi, or was created by a sci-fi writer. So, yeah, go figure that one. That, yeah, it's a created thing. And I totally lost my train of thought because Scientology just kind of screws with my brain a little bit, because seriously, it's sci-fi. It's not real. But so using the psychology, approach to magic and energy, that's one way to do it. Charisma. That's the word I was looking for. And Crowley had a lot of charisma. And so he drew people to him, and people who wanted to support him, and they threw money at him, and it's just very odd. But because of that charisma, he was able to manipulate the energies around him and do the things he wanted to do. He had quite the cult following for quite a long time. Even now, there's a lot of people that follow in his steps. They feel that his path is the correct path to enlightenment. Now, as I've mentioned in the past, I totally believe that there is more than one path to enlightenment. I'm Pagan. This is my path. I'm totally stoked that the rest of y'all that are listening in are joining me on my path. I hope you learn things. You can always ask questions. It's been really quiet. Titan is not in the chat room, so there's been no Titan asking questions, which has been strange. I hope Titan's okay. And, there's... I don't know, it's just... Yeah, ask me the questions. Send me the email, wildpaisley@gmail.com. And I'll do the research. I'll give you some information. I'll help you out as much as I can. And if I can't, I probably know someone who can. So yeah, magic. Magic is energy. Energy connects us all. And okay, so in my family, I have two younger sisters that are quite close together in age. And one is a bit more of a brat than the other one. And even though they're in their 30s now, 40s, they're in their 40s now. Oh boy. It's like, seriously, they're still brats. The whole, you're not really touching someone even though they feel like you're touching. No, there's still infinite space in between there. Your skin and their skin. Yeah, it's same thing with magic, though. There's infinite energy to do the magic. It's just interpretation and accessing it and channeling that energy correctly. Now, the reason why I think spells and rituals are necessary for more controlled magic is because word really gives form to the thought and the creation process. And it helps us define the parameters and the energetic flow. And it helps to cement in your thinking that A is going to lead to B, which is going to lead to C, which is going to lead to D to give you the results. impulsive magic, which is often very, very emotional rather than thought out and planned, often has a lot more energy to it, but is often not very controlled. It may be a quick flash and then the energy fizzles, or it may be a long burn. It depends on what kind of energy you're putting into it, what kind of emotions you're putting into it. There's that quick burst of frustration, or the long burn of hate, or refusal to forgive. Forgiveness is a big thing. So if you refuse to forgive someone because you feel that you have been wronged so grossly that you can't let that go and forgive them, that's a long-term thing. And in the heat of the moment, if you let that energy out, it can be very, very destructive. If you're not channeling it correctly, and it could be destructive to you, it could be destructive to another person. That's why revenge can be quite dangerous. If you're plotting revenge for something that happened to you, you put so much energy into it, you don't always remember to protect yourself and those around you. So there's an increase in potential for someone to be hurt or injured. So revenge, while not magic, has a lot of energy, just like magic does. But oddly, in our society, is more acceptable than someone saying, "Hey, yes, I do magic." Like, "Oh, hey, no, I believe in revenge." Yeah, people, guys. So our society right now is quite bizarre. So within magic, a lot of times we talk about magical tools, or and then magical tools could be things like divinatory tools like tarot or runes, dice, pendulums. I love my little pendulum here. It could be, divinatory type things. Could be almost anything. There's quite a few different tools depending on what your tradition is and what your beliefs are. And, a lot of people who are Christian don't feel that they are doing magic of any kind. Well, if they pray, it's a petition to Yahweh, right? Well, as a witch, if I am performing a ritual, often I am beseeching or asking for additional help with whatever I'm trying to accomplish from a deity. And if I'm doing that, well, then I am petitioning the deity to help me out. See the similarities there? And there's a specific goal in mind. How often do Christians pray to get a specific result? Oh, pretty doggone often. How often do we do rituals and magic to have a specific result? Pretty often. I don't know a lot of people out there who do rituals without having a plan in mind as to what the result is. If you're going to cast a spell, don't you have an intended result in mind? Just like people who pray, if they're praying, don't they have an intended result that they're hoping to achieve? Whether it's forgiveness for whether their sins, or healing, or protection, or whatever, same kind of thing. And as forgiveness for sins, but protection, healing, guidance, all of that stuff is something that we do or are asking for when we're doing spell work or ritual work. Ceremonies or ceremonies. Marriage, baptism, hand fasting, christening, pretty much the same thing. It's just two different names for the same event, basically. And it's frustrating when I see people who naysay the religious aspect of paganism and witchcraft, because there is a religious aspect. If you're working with divinity, there's going to be some religion involved. The flip side of that, with religion, often there's also dogma. And so that's where the different traditions come into play. Within paganism and witchcraft, there's quite a few different traditions. Just like within the Abrahamic faiths and traditions, there's many, many different paths. There's so many different denomination types within Christianity, it's hard to list them all. Well, the same kind of thing within paganism. There's so many different pantheons and traditions and combinations that, we need to just remember to be respectful of all of them. It's a lot less hurtful and a lot less painful. I mean, really, truly. I personally have a finite amount of energy because I will only drink so much coffee before it makes my tummy upset. And so I don't have any extra energy to have hard feelings towards other people for the traditions that they follow. Now, if they try to shove their traditions and their dogma into my face, that's an entirely different story. There's nothing wrong with protecting yourself. Just remember that. In doing the research, I'm going to wait before I pick up this next book because I want to talk about the Wiccan Guide to What Magic Is, that kind of thing. And then also, what is the difference between Magick, M-A-G-I-C, and Magick with M-A-G-I-C-K? Because there is a little bit of a difference. And part of it is perception. And that is something I think a lot of witches and pagans don't really remember, is that perception is a big deal. And it varies from tradition to tradition. And I say witches separately from pagans because you can be a witch without being a pagan. And you can be a pagan without being a witch. They are not hand in hand. They don't always go together, just like not all witches are Wiccan. And not all Wiccans are witches. Wicca is often considered the religion of witchcraft. Well, okay, that's great, but there's also Christian witches. What do you think that priest is? Seriously, do they have special ingredients that they use for a ceremony or ritual? Do they have special tools, special clothes, special words and incantations? Hey, yes. The Pope is a wizard. I'm joking only a little bit. Because magicians, those who do magic, just like priests, preside over religious rituals. They often observe restrictions on diet or even sexual activity. There's a difference between ordinary and profane activities, and there's difference with how they approach an audience and the words they use, and how they address the divine with reverence, generally, or irreverence, depending on the relationship and the individual deity, because not all deities are created equal. And sometimes instead of reaching out to deity, we're reaching out to ancestors. And because honestly, who has our best goals in mind, or who is looking out for us the most? Well, it's those that basically created us, have a direct line to who we are. If not for our ancestors, we wouldn't be here, basically. So yeah, often you can petition your ancestors to ask for a hand, and it's like, hey, am I doing this right? Can I get a little energetic push because I needed the extra cup of coffee and decided, no, I better not, because I didn't want my hands to shake, whatever. So yeah, you just deep breath, and remember, magic is energy. And energy is, I'm going to come back to it again and again, the ability to do work. So magic is the ability to do work, ultimately. And we need to remember that. We really, really, really do. That's all it is. And someday I really, truly think that science will explain magic to the point where everybody is like, oh, so that's magic. Well, shoot, I can do that too. And it becomes commonplace and accepted. And it's not given a stigma of evilness if you're doing things that are outside of today's ordinary person. So, you're extraordinary. Congratulations. Here's a shiny new penny. You get a participation award. No, that's basically what will happen, unfortunately. But, yeah, no. Once people realize that magic is just energy that's channeled a little bit differently than what is currently an accepted social norm, I think there will be a lot less stress when it comes to people talking to witches or considering witchcraft now to be legitimate rather than just hearsay and a fabrication or for entertainment purposes. Top of the hour, it's our next break. When we come back, I will do the singing bowl, and we're going to talk more about what is magic. I think it's a good topic for me. We'll be right back, guys. Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. So, it's time for a little bit of singing bowl, because why not? Let's see how many people I can wake up, right? love my bowls. I'm going to have to learn how to make leather-wrapped mallets because I have a feeling I'm going to wear the leather out on this before before the summer's out. Just a hunch. Because now I have looked at other mallets, side note, because out of curiosity, you know, different mallets have different sounds, it seems like. I'm not as good with the straight wood mallet without the leather cover. It's just, it just doesn't seem to work as well for me, which is fine. I don't need it to. I really don't. And, okay, great. But what else is there? Well, I've seen PVC mallets. Those are a little strange to me. I just think they're a little strange, that's all. It doesn't mean they don't work. It just means it's a little strange to me. Yeah, it's just strange. So, you know, it's maybe down the road I will have to just get another mallet. That's all. Or learn how to make my very own. Again, I like making things, so it's not really a hardship to do so at all. Because yes, I like to make the things. I like to do the stuff to make the things. I have the tools. Love having the tools. So, tonight we're talking about magic. What is magic, really? In my mind, in my world. If you want to drink my Kool-Aid, if you will. Ooh. Side note. Wanda says try a rubber band on it. Might have to. I'm sure there's some sort of adhesives or epoxies that I can use to put new leather on my wooden mallet. Can't be that hard. I mean, it's just a stick with some leather on it, right? I don't know. Have to ponder it. Because I can make other mallets like a timpani type mallet. I know how to make those. That was a pancake. So, anyways. In my world, magic. What is magic? It is energy. That's all. Just straight energy. And so what is energy? It's the ability to do work. So what is magic then? Well, it is the ability to do work. Pretty straightforward, right? Seems like a really simple concept, but when you stop and think about it, it's a lot more complex than a lot of people might at first believe. And that's just because a lot of people don't stop and think about magic as being the ability to do work or to do that kind of a creation type of thing. And yeah, it's just my interpretation. Other people believe differently, and that's okay. We're all a little different. And it's easier to accept people as they are than it is to, try to change them or turn them into something else. Let's see. So, energy, just how is energy measured? I don't know how many of you remember your science classes. Energy is measured in the International System of Units. So a unit of energy is a joule. So the specific heat capacity for a material is defined as the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of the material 1 degree Celsius. And it takes 4.18 joules to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water 1 degree Celsius. So 1 kilojoule equals 1,000 joules. Blah, blah, blah. So they have an example here. A piece of buttered toast contains about 315 kilojoules, which gives you enough energy to ride your bike for 10 minutes or run for 6 minutes. So, excuse me. At some point down the road, do I think we'll be able to measure magic in joules? I don't know about joules, but I think the potential for being able to truly measure it is going to happen. Yes. I think it almost has to, because it's a logical next step for me, if you will. It would make sense that we would learn how to be able to measure magic and quantify it, because there's so many people out there don't really seem to want to believe in it, which to me is just weird. Wanda says broomstick, cut off to size and wrap it up on the end like a hockey stick knob. Yep, pretty much. That's how you make a baton type mallet. So Let's see. Magic. What is magic? So, according to Wicca Living, they talk about magic, trying to define the difference between magic with a K and magic without a K. So, Magick was French. It's a French word. And that was used often in the 1300s, and it became anglicized and turned into the word magic. And so the French definition of magique is the art of influencing events and producing marvels using hidden natural forces. Kind of like, what is energy? Is, the ability to do the work. So, yeah. And so, according to Wicca Living, it's a much closer characterization of magic than any modern day dictionary would provide. But for the 21st century, which it's more accurate to say magic is the art of consciously participating in the co-creative forces of the universe by directing the energies of nature to cause desired changes in one's life. Yeah, that means you have the ability to do the work. Yeah. Ghee coffee and tea, yes. Ghee coffee. I'm not really into ghee coffee, but I've tried it. I'd rather have butter on my malted meal, honestly. Or on my toast. But yeah, tea, coffee, yeah, there's a high energy count there. Hey, if you're really curious, you can look it up. But yeah, going back to Wicca Living here, Wicca Living. Basically, they're saying that magic is you're manifesting your stated intentions into reality. Kind of like someone says, "Hey, I am going to lose weight." That's stated intention. And then they start going to the gym. They're doing the work. And they're using their intention to manifest their physical reality to go out and lose some weight. Now, is that always the way it works? No, there's a little bit more to it than that, but that's just loose analogy here. Magic with a K, though, came about with Aleister Crowley. He was really big in the occult movement in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. We've talked to him before. He wanted to, or decided to add the K at the end of magic to separate stage magic or illusion magic from real magic, which I understand because there's a lot of misunderstandings when it comes to magic. Today, a lot of folks refer to magic as witchcraft. Instead of magician, you're a witch. There's a lot of non-specific labels that we tend to apply to ourselves. A magician, witch. I don't personally like the word warlock just because warlock was used as someone who broke oaths. That's what the definition was. It's changed over the years, so it's a little different now. But wizard. Personally, I like witch. Can there be men witches? Yes, there can be. There can be girl witches. Yes, there can be. None of these words are gender specific. They are just words. It's like saying doctor. In the English language, doctor is doctor. It's not doctora or doctoro. It is just doctor. It's not Fraulein. It's Frau. It's just doctor. So, I think in a way we need to remember that witch could be boy or girl, and when it comes to magic, there really isn't a specific gender that is dominant or more capable. That tendency in our world right now to limit one gender over the other, and it goes both ways, guys and gals. A witch is a witch is a witch. A wizard is a wizard is a wizard. It just depends upon your tradition. That's all. It's non-specific. Priest, priestess, that's a little different, but it's all the priesthood. It's the group. And we shouldn't get so tied up in the label. Remember, what is magic? Magic is ability to do the work. You don't have to be absolute in your labels. You just want the ability to do the work. So there are some, I think, valid points when it comes to Wicca, and magic and ritual work and such. But a lot of times within the Wicca tradition, there's a lot of elaborate rituals. There's specific words. There's different ceremonial clothing that you're supposed to wear. It's all there's a lot of pageantry associated with Wiccan practitioners. Now, pagan practitioners can also have a lot of pageantry too. It's just Wicca is more trying to associate the male and female divinity. So they speak to the goddess and the god. They don't go with a specific deity generally. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Again, different traditions have different paths and definitions. So if you're interested in Wicca as a religion, I strongly suggest looking into it. WiccaLiving.com is a good site for that. There's a link in the show notes because, and just like with Christianity, for instance, there's the Ten Commandments. Well, within Wicca, there is a certain couple of, they call them the Reed, or the Golden Rule, is and harm none, do what ye will. Okay, that one comes up and gets spit out and mangled all over the place. You just, I don't know. Do I feel like I need rules? No, but then I understand the difference between right and wrong. Yeah, it's hard to say. That's an entirely different show conversation, probably with Lucky or Dawn or both, because if you get into the semantics and the religiosity of Wiccan practices and beliefs. There is a lot there, though. Someone who is Wiccan could be following Nordic deities or Celtic deities or Egyptian deities, absolutely. Or they could just be offering worship to the male and feminine divine. And so that's the deities they work with when they are trying to do magic and channel that energy. So it's interesting. When I Googled the definition of magic, I did both with the C and with the CK on the end. And one, I got the real definition, came from Britannica, and that actually I really liked it. It was a good site, a good page. But with the K, it was like, oh, hey, there's not a lot of information. So when you're doing your research, make sure you're reading through all of it before you commit to the ritual and find out it's for World of Warcraft or something. Do you need the K when you talk about magic? That is really up to you and your tradition and the way you believe. If you feel you need that differentiation between magic for stage magic or for real magic, that's up to you. That's up to your tradition. And if you're following a specific tradition, which is often you get that information from a coven, or you could go to a school, that kind of a thing, whether online or face-to-face. And if that's the thing, you need to follow within the, if you will, dogmatic practices within that particular tradition. And make sure you're using the words appropriately, so you're honoring the people who taught you and the people you're working with. So within magic, remember, magic is the ability to do the work. Some people often assume psychic ability is also magic because, and some don't. Personally, I don't feel that psychic ability is truly magic because it's an ability rather than a learned skill. I think pretty much anybody can learn how to do magic. Not everybody has the ability to channel the energy the same, and so there's going to be different levels of practitioners. And you don't have to have a ritual to do magic. I mean, if you are mixing a cup of coffee, you want cream and sugar in there. Okay, well, when you're stirring, are you stirring clockwise, counterclockwise? Or are you setting your intention? Hey, this is going to be a refreshing cup of coffee and it's going to wake me up and I'm going to be able to do all the things. That's a little bit of a ritual. Some people are as religious in their morning coffee rituals as any devout Catholic I have ever come across. Sometimes more so. Oh. I just like coffee. I'm not very persnickety about it. So, do psychics practice magic? No, it's a skill rather than a learned ability. And not everybody is psychic. So, if you are online at all, in any of the social media organizations or groups, you're going to see a lot of people saying, oh, I'm an empath, or I'm a psychic, or I'm a this, or I'm a that. Most of them aren't. Some of them are quite sensitive, but that doesn't mean that you are a psychic or an empath or have psychic abilities. It's complicated. So just remember to read between the lines, get some references. If you really want to talk to a psychic, let me know. I do know a couple, and I can vouch for their ability. Absolutely. A question here. So, Learn Religions talks about magic also. It poses a question: are miracles magic? Wow. Isn't that a hard question? Because on the one hand, yeah. On the other hand, no. According to Learn Religions, it's not, because magic originates largely from the worker and perhaps the items used by the worker, in other words, the witch, and miracles are solely at the discretion of a supernatural being. So prayers are often considered a request to the divine, and magic is an attempt to create change on one's own. Well, often when we're doing magic, we are also petitioning the divine to give us a hand and help us. So are the results miracles? I don't think so. But it is kind of a blurry thing. And so are you using the deity? Are you calling upon the deity like as a word of power, or are you calling upon the deity to help you do the work? Fine line. It can go either way. And I think the divine can also help guide our hands and help us to create miracles. Yes. Because, well, what is a miracle? Hold on. Define miracle. Google at my fingertips. A miracle is a surprising and welcome event that is not explicable by natural or scientific laws and therefore considered to be the work of a divine agency. Well, if someone doesn't believe in magic and a thing happens, they're going to say, oh, it's a miracle. And the witch is saying, no, honey, I did the work. It's not a miracle. I planned this and it happened just the way I wanted it to. So it depends on your viewpoint, I suppose. A miracle could be a highly improbable or extraordinary event, or an amazing product or achievement, or an outstanding example of something. Well, you know what? I've seen some magical works that are pretty freaking fantastic, and definitely, from my point of view, do land within that miracle category, without a doubt. Without a doubt. So, I don't know. Remember, when you're doing the research, make sure you're reading all of it. One of the things associated with magic is your will. Not just your intention, but your will. Because often we need to focus our will, our energy. If you're willing something to happen, it means you're focusing your energy on it to happen. So if you're doing magic, you're focusing your energy or focusing your will upon it. And some people have more will than others, more of a can-do attitude, and some have less. Some are quite overt, and it seems like their will or their desire to accomplish things is very extroverted, and some are very introverted. Regardless of how it manifests, it doesn't always equal the same kind of strength. So often that introverted will is going to be as strong, if not stronger, than the extroverted, and vice versa. It depends upon the practitioner, because not everybody has the same amount of will. Will, according to Aleister Crowley, is purpose in life. Because will is different than want. You want... What technically, so you want someone to stop gossiping about you. Okay, that's your want, and that's a want. That's not a will. You will have more coffee. That is a will. So will is different than want. So often society tells us what we want to do. Religion, work, family, friends. They are all giving us sometimes a very unwelcome helping hand to figure out what they think our want is or what our will is, but is their interpretation of us. So you need to remember that when you go to someone for advice or share a part of yourself with someone, often that regardless of what it is, they are going to filter whatever you're saying or doing through their own lens of their own experiences and their own energy and their own will. So remember, pursue your own will. Be authentic to yourself. Be true to yourself, and pursue what you want now, and what you will. You can do that either by going mundane means or by magical means. It just two different tool sets. That's all. One's metric. One's I want to say standard. One's metric. One's standard. Two different things. So. Some people feel that magic isn't really supernatural because it's more mundane, because it is leading you to your true will. And you're manifesting your true will, meaning you're manifesting your true self. And that's not supernatural. That's natural. You should want to be your true self because it helps you to become the most authentic you, the truest version of yourself that you could possibly be. And once you become the truest version of yourself that you could possibly be, man, is life a whole lot less stressful. It's a lot easier to attain that happiness, if you will. I've said in the past that there's more than one path to enlightenment. Well, if you can let go of all that baggage, regardless of the path, is going to be easier to navigate and easier to do. So whether it's traveling or studying or learning or family, it's focus your will. What is it you're trying to accomplish? And when it comes to your will, instead of trying to stop the rushing water, because often it's hard to stop the water, often it's easier to redirect it and send that energy somewhere else. So if you are encountering something that's constantly giving you that obstacle and you're trying to put your hands up, make that stop, I'm not going to deal with it. Is that really your truest will, or are you encountering something and you need to learn how to get around it or how to navigate through it or with it rather than against it? Because often the energy to travel with or through that energy spent is a lot less than if you're trying to buck the system or swim upstream. So, yeah, stick to your truest will. Magic will help you. And if you're sticking to your truest will and your truest desires and the truest, most authentic self, magic will be easier. It'll be less complicated. It'll be more direct. You won't need as many crutches and tools as you would if you are true to yourself. Being true to yourself means you can just do the thing. You don't have to stop and think about it and plot it out and figure it out and. It's just easier. So we're off to our last break, and then when we come back, we'll talk some more about energy and magic. We'll be right back.
Sisters of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea, I call upon you in this hour, bring magic unto me. Brothers, oh, the cauldron cries, it singeth unto me the songs of Mother Goddess and the Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. Good morning, Marie. Happy Sunday to you, lady. I hope you have a fantabulous... Oh, no, it's Monday morning. Ooh, I'm sorry. Sunday morning? What is today? Today's Saturday here. Sunday morning. Oof. I can do the things, but I can't tell the time. I haven't worn a watch in years, and I still catch myself looking for a watch. All the time. I'm not even wearing a bracelet today. Yeah, I still keep losing myself. So, tonight we're talking about magic, and what is it? Well, to me, it is energy. And what is energy? I've said this a couple of times tonight. Well, energy is the ability to do the work. So that means magic is the ability to do the work as well. Magic is energy. Yep, Sunday morning. I'll figure it out, I promise. Don't mind me. It's just one of those days. Actually, it's not. It was a good day. It was a good day. Started off my day, ironically. It was a funny thing. It was, I have 11 hens, right? Because I like farm fresh eggs. And best way to get farm fresh eggs is to, grow them my own self. That way I know what's in them and all the stuff, right? Well, so funny thing. We have wild turkeys here. And the wild turkeys are, man, they're probably almost 4 feet tall when they stand up. Seriously, they're huge beastie things, and they gobble. Blah, 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 they gobble, and it's hilarious listening to them. And so we had 3 of these silly turkeys flirting with my hens this morning, and so the hens were in the pen, and they were looking at them. They were all just standing there looking like, seriously, what are you doing? It was funny. Hi, unknown. You're a new name. I hope you're having a good day. Welcome to my insanity. But yeah, funny way to start the day. Turkeys walking through the yard, making a mess, and flirting with my chickens. Friend of mine keeps trying to give me a rooster. No, thank you. I don't need a rooster. Thanks. I could, but no. I promised I wouldn't bring home another chicken. Who knew that would be such a hard thing? Because it is. So, doing good, my dear, doing good. So, energy, magic is energy, and again, energy is the ability to do the work. I keep saying this repeatedly, often, and I'll probably bring it up every so often throughout the future shows, just because I want us to really get that stuck in our brain, because it normalizes magic, and it makes it a little bit more acceptable when you think about it in terms of energy. How much energy do you need to ride your bike for 6 minutes, according to the graphic I was looking at earlier? Well, you need a piece of toast with peanut butter on it to ride your bike. So, how much magic do you need to... Actually, how much toast and peanut butter do you need for that same kind of magic? So, yeah, just... I want us to change our perception and find another way to... approach magic and allow it to be more acceptable. Marie, I am slightly envious that you're getting a lemon tree. I would love a lemon tree. Don't really have the right weather for a lemon tree, but I would love one. Fresh lemon is fantastic. It smells like sunshine. I love fresh lemon. I can grow lemongrass. That's as close as I get. I did see someone that had emu chicks available for sale. Emus are quite closely related to ostriches. The emu chicks really look like little baby brontosauruses. They look like dinosaurs. And it's a riot. And if I had, $300 to spend on 2 chicks, I probably would have considered getting a couple of emus. Just because actually emu tastes pretty good. And I love their feathers. Oh, their feathers are fantastic. Oh, digress. So, energy. Magic. So there's, within energy itself, there's a couple of different laws out there. Newton has some laws out there and some other things. And the one I want to talk about is the law of conservation of energy. This, I think, is really pertinent. And so the law of conservation of energy states that energy is neither created nor destroyed, although it can be changed in form. So the total energy of a system remains constant. So for an example, they use here, chemical energy, which is a type of potential energy, is stored in the molecule that composes gasoline. When gasoline is combusted within the cylinders of a car engine, the rapidly expanding gaseous product of this chemical reaction generates mechanical energy, which is a type of kinetic energy, and then that moves the cylinder's pistons, which eventually leads to moving the car forward. Justin, you're funny. All you guys need now is some guinea hens. So, yeah, law of conservation of energy. The amount of energy out in the world is static. Though you can't create energy, you can't uncreate energy. And when... Or not energy, but... energy. So instead of trying to create new energy, you're trying to take existing energy and change it to what you need to accomplish. That's why different spells have different components, and those different components all have a slightly different energetic signature. So I'm just going to reach over here. I've got the communication spell jars. I'll hold one up to the camera. YouTube world can see it. You can see the yellow, because yellow is good for communication. It's got blue lace agate, blue aventurine, blue apatite, clove, caraway, thyme, sea salt, and pasta, actually. Pasta is kind of kitchen witchery within the spell jar. We used sandalwood and lemongrass essential oils, and it's sealed with yellow wax. It's got a little charm on it. But all of the different things within the spell jar have different energetic signatures. So to help with the communication, where you're listening to, with intent, or listening to hear and speaking your own truth, sometimes we need that little extra boost to accomplish that. And so sometimes we just don't have the energy to do the communication or to do the self-love, for instance. Because we do the self-love ones also. And if you're looking on the website, it's paisleywild.com, you can order different size spell jars. If there's a size you want that's not listed, just let me know. Send me the email, wildpaisley@gmail.com, and I can generally create it. I'll let you know how much it's going to cost. And the reason why I say this is because sometimes we need different size spell jars. So I've got little wearable spell jars for self-love, because sometimes we need to carry that little extra bit around with us all the time. But maybe we need a bigger jar with bigger energy in it, or additional energy in it, in like our room. Maybe in our underwear drawer, or our t-shirt drawer, or in our closet, or jewelry box, or whatever it is. Someplace where that energy can kind of ooze into us and helps us to love ourselves, because often we just don't have the energy to do the self-care and to have the self-love, because we're always so busy taking care of other people, whether it's work or family or friends. We're always doing the things, always going. Well, you can't pour from an empty cup, so you have to stop and fill up your own cup. So self-love, yeah, that's a big deal. Take care of yourself. And like if you're worried about communication with your significant other, put a communication spell jar underneath your bed where you both sleep, or in the kitchen, or in the dining room, or in the living room, someplace where that communication will help you. Because, yeah, sometimes you have to use that extra energy for communication, because we're often so busy, go, just like I mentioned. We just don't have the energy to put into this other thing, because sometimes it just uses all of our energy just to get up in the morning, stumble into our clothes, stumble to work, and stumble home. And to have an effective relationship with anybody is quite difficult. Or to go ahead and put up that energetic barrier around ourselves to protect us. When we were creating the spell jars, Mini-Me decided she wanted to make one also. She wanted to make a protection one. And then she asked me to make a little loop on it so she could hang it up. And so it's hanging over her bed, because sometimes she has nightmares. And she wanted something to protect her from the nightmares. She's got a dream catcher to draw the good dreams, and the protection charm, which is called Armor Up on the website, to help protect her from the bad dreams. And by golly, she's sleeping better. And she's sleeping through the night. She's sleeping in just a little bit. Otherwise, she's awake at 5 o'clock every morning. Somebody out there has a sense of humor, because not only did they gift me with a daughter after having boys that are 20 years older than she is, they also gave me a morning person. I'm not a morning person. For those of you who are listening live, do you know what time it is in your world? Yeah. So Justin wants to... Justin says, Paisley, I'm a total noob to most of the spirituality aspect of basically what I've always thought of as natural healing. So where can I find scriptures or ancient writings that talk about the mixtures for these spells? So there are quite a few books out there that talk about creating spells and the energetic properties of the different things. So it's not really scriptures or necessarily ancient writings, because ancient writings, honestly, not a lot of pagan ones out there. But if you have a book on stones, for instance, gems. Hold on, let me see what this book. Go away. There it is. Oh, let's see. Book of Stones. There's the Metaphysical Book of Gem and Crystals. And then there's the Book of Stones. Who they are and what they teach. That one's a good one. That's by Naisha Ossian and Robert Simmons. That one's actually really good. I use that one all the time for the so I learn more about the different stones and rocks and crystals. It's a bigger book. It's not something that you can just slip into your pocket. It's a big book. The Metaphysical Book of Gems and Crystals, you can get it Kindle or in paperback. Florence Measurement is the author, and Robert Simmons liked the book also. So they're both really good books, and you're going to want to learn more about the metaphysical aspect of your rocks and your stones, so you understand what energies are associated with. So there is a lot of information actually on Pinterest, which is a little odd for me to say, but there is. But you have to stop and think about, where do they get their information from? So if they can cite where they got it from, crystalvaults.com is a really good site to look stuff up. So say black tourmaline, for instance. Black tourmaline as a protective stone, protective and grounding, and is good, provides a connection between earth and the human spirit. So in a protection amulet, tourmaline's a really good thing to have in there. But it's a borosilicate. There's all sorts of things you can learn about there. So Find reputable websites to learn and that kind of thing. I have received very strong suggestions from a friend of mine that I need to start writing more on the website. So maybe I will talk a little bit more about that kind of thing and blog style on my website. So that's PaisleyWild.com. Justin, I may have to reach out to you and ponder that one with you. But as far as the herbs go, that's kind of a kitchen witchery, understanding what the different aspects of the different herbs are. The Natural Witch's Cookbook is a good one. Let's see. There's the Book of Kitchen Witchery. Simon Schuster published it. Who's the author on this? Caradwyn Greenleaf. Actually, it's a pretty good book also. And it talks about some of the energetic signatures for a lot of different herbs and such. Salt, straight off the bat, is cleansing. We all know that, I think. And also protective. Cascarilla, which is ground up eggshells, that's very protective also. So is red brick dust. And Cascarilla is often associated with Santeria type medicine, and red brick dust, is more of a Vaudoon or voodoo type of magic. So, the different traditions have different things as well. A lot of the writings, Justin, unfortunately, are not really ancient. It's more a lot newer than ancient, I guess. It's old, but it's not ancient. Some people, if you are associated with an older tradition, if you have an older tradition grimoire that you can work with or get information from, but that's something else. But yeah, so everything has an energetic signature. So when you're doing spell work, you're putting the energy from the different things, the elements of the spell, into the spell to help you with the energy. So if you're trying to do healing, for instance, you want to make sure you're using healing energies, and serpentine is one of those really good ones. And some of them are different for different afflictions. So find a good rock book for that. I carry serpentine for healing and tourmaline for protection and selenite for cleansing, and quite a variety of other things in my little rock pouch that I generally have with me all the time. And it's just, it helps me it boosts my energy to accomplish the things or to do the extra focus to protect myself and help me get through the day. And a lot of us are pretty new at this whole magic thing, because and I stop and think about it. When we were growing up, was it acceptable? Not really, not like it is now. Our society has shifted, especially here in the U.S., and magic is more acceptable. Being a pagan is more acceptable. Being a witch is more acceptable. Are there still witch hunters out there? Yes, but there's jerks from every walk in life, unfortunately. So you just gotta pay attention to what you're doing. That's all. Protect yourself. Sometimes that means carrying tourmaline in your pocket. Sometimes it means carrying a baseball bat. So, Justin would like to know more about the pagan, Germanic, and Norwegian tribes. Yes. Is that your roots, my dear? Because that's mine too. Pagan, Germanic, Norwegian, and Celtic. So I'm naturally pale. So yeah, remember when you're doing all this stuff, journal what you're doing. Hold on. There, can't type and talk at the same time. So, Justin, you might need to help me focus on that one. I do have some stuff. If you have a chance, Aerith Hargar is a really awesome YouTube show. He talks about a lot of the Norwegian or the Nordic traditions. And he comes at it from an archaeologist's point of view, and real fascinating to listen to. So, about 5 minutes left here. Magic. What is it? Well, it's not necessarily a religion, it's a practice, because magic is energy, and energy energy is the ability to do the work. Straight up. Sometimes magic is coffee, so you can do the work. Sometimes magic is chocolate. Sometimes magic is, pancakes. There's magic in all those things. Sometimes magic is fuzzy socks. It's the ability to do the things that you need to accomplish. And there is some misunderstandings in our world today still about magic and its origins and what it can do. There's a lot of confusion about magic being a religion. It's not. It's a practice. Just like medicine is a practice, so is magic. It's just the original M word. A magic is also herbology, or herbology is also magic, if you want to think about it that way. So, you're funny, Justin. When it comes to doing the things that we need to do, we need to really focus our energy and remember that magic isn't religion, it's a practice. And you're channeling the energetic qualities of the world around you, or yourself, or your spell ingredients to accomplish your goals. So, yes, the charm for protection, yeah, sometimes you need that, because you're exhausted from just surviving from one day to the next. Maybe your home situation's rough, maybe your work situation's rough. Maybe you're just going through a rocky point in your life where you just are feeling extra challenged and attacked. It happens. It really does. Our world today is quite bizarre. If you had asked me 20 years ago if our world today would be like this, I would have said no. 10 years ago, I did say yes, though. I kind of predicted where we're at about 15 years ago. No, really a shocker. So, yeah, intentions are everything, Wanda. Justin, you watch Aerith. That's awesome. Yeah, he's fun. He's fascinating. Oh my, Justin has an interesting background. Yes, you have access to tribal magic also, which is an entirely different thing too. Your grandmother should have had some sort of information that they could have shared with you, or a direction to point you, honestly. So yeah, when it comes to magic, remember it's the energy. It is the energy, and I'm going to say that repeatedly. I've said it often tonight. I'll probably say it often again in the future, because it is. We focus so much on the dogma of our world that we often lose sight of what we truly need, our true will, our true purpose. And we need that magic to nudge us back onto the path where we need to be to accomplish the stuff that we need to accomplish. And sometimes it's a gentle nudge. It's just a little one. Other times it's a swift kick to the butt. So, anyways, so yeah, you guys. So thank you for joining tonight. I really, 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 really appreciate it. If you do have questions, send me the email. It's wildpaisley@gmail.com. Check out the website, PaisleyWild.com. Check out the book, The Wild Pagan, A to Z. Don't forget to check out iLife.com. iLife is good for you. You can also do the hashtag, this $, TheSpacesBetween. I'm not saying you have to do all those things, but if you did, that'd be awesome. The hashtag helps support my radio habit. Because, yes, I have to pay for the coffee somehow, right? So anyways, I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. I really appreciate when you guys show up and you help me out and you talk to me and you inspire me. And thank you for joining me on my own spiritual journey. And you know, poking at me and asking me questions and making sure I'm on the ball and doing the stuff to accomplish what I need to accomplish too. So thanks for joining. Merry meet and merry part and merry meet again. And we will see you next weekend. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Remember, magic. It helps you do what you need to do. It's your ability to do the work. Do it. Bye, guys.